Welcome back to Unique Coins Value, where we dig deep into the stories money tells. Today, we're embarking on a deep dive into the US Ace 1-cent coin. We're going to explore its journey from a vital piece of commerce to a coin that literally costs more to make than it's worth. We'll answer the ultimate question: what is the real value of a penny? Let's start with the basics. The 1-cent coin, officially known as the cent, but universally called the penny, has been around since 1793. For 50 years, from 1909 to 1958, it featured two wheat stalks on the back, earning it the nickname Wheat Penny. Then, in 1959, to mark the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth, the design changed to the Lincoln Memorial. And since 2010, we've had the current Union Shield design, representing Lincoln's preservation of the United States. But here's the first big twist. That copper color? It's mostly a lie. Before 1982, pennies were 95% copper and 5% zinc. But the rising price of copper meant the metal in the penny was worth more than 1 cent. So, in 1982, the U.S. Mint switched to a core of 99.2% zinc, with a thin copper plating. This brings us to our central conflict: cost versus face value. That's right. It costs 2.72 cents to create a single 1-cent coin. The U.S. government, and by extension, the American taxpayer, loses over 1.7 cents on every single penny that rolls off the production line. In recent years, this has added up to a loss of over $70 million annually. Today, the melt value of the metal in this old penny is, well, it fluctuates with metal markets, but it's often around 2 to 3 cents. So, an old penny, just as a lump of metal, is worth more than double its face value. In fact, it is technically illegal to melt them down for profit, but that fact alone tells you how upside down the economics have become. Okay, so the government loses money making them, and the metal in old ones is more valuable. But what does this mean for you, holding a handful of chon? When a penny is worth more than 1 cent? As we just discussed, pre-1982 pennies have a higher intrinsic metal value. While you can't legally melt them, collectors and investors will often buy them in bulk for a premium over face value. You can sometimes sell $10 worth of pre-1982 pennies for $12, $15, or even $20, depending on the copper market. They are a tangible store of value. Finding one of these in your change is like winning the lottery. It's unlikely, but it's the dream that keeps us checking our change. Even a common, modern penny can have a premium if it's in pristine, uncirculated condition. A 2023 penny straight from a mint roll might only be worth 2 or 3 cents to a collector trying to complete a set, but it shows that condition is everything in numismatics. So, we're left with the big debate. Should we kill the penny? It's a money loser. We've covered this. It's a drain on public funds. Studies show handling pennies adds 2 seconds to every cash transaction. That adds up to billions in lost productivity. Many people simply leave them behind or throw them away. They've lost their perceived value. Other countries have done it. Canada, Australia, and others have successfully eliminated their lowest denomination coins with no ill effects. The case for keeping the penny: inflation fears. Some argue that eliminating the penny would lead to rounding up and creeping inflation, though studies in other countries show this is minimal and evens out. Pennies are a huge source of donations for charities. The symbolic penny drive is a powerful fundraising tool. Tradition and sentiment. It's an American icon. It features one of our greatest presidents. There's a real emotional attachment. The without the penny problem. What happens to pricing? Would everything be rounded to the nearest nickel? It's a logistical hurdle. There are compelling arguments on both sides. It's more than an economic question, it's a cultural one. So, what is the real circulated value of a USA 1 cent? We're talking about the 1980 Lincoln Memorial penny. It's the definition of common. Over 7 billion pennies were minted in 1980. So, the question we're going to answer today is a big one. Is the 1980 penny just a piece of pocket change, or could your pocket change be hiding a small fortune? Stick around, because the answer is more interesting than you might think. So, let's get the big, obvious question out of the way first, that if you take a standard, worn 1980 penny to a coin shop, what will they give you for it? I know, anticlimactic. But that's the reality for 99.9% of these coins. They are still legal tender, and in circulated condition, they are worth exactly their face value. But, and this is a huge but, we aren't just looking at one type of 1980 penny. Let's break them down one by one, starting with the most common. The Philadelphia and Denver mints were responsible for producing all the pennies for general circulation. We're talking mountains of coins. These numbers are astronomical. To put it in perspective, if you stacked all the 1980 pennies, the stack would reach over 7,000 miles high. So, finding these in your change is a certainty. In circulated condition, meaning they show wear, they have no premium value. They are 1-cent coins. Now, let's talk about condition. If you find a 1980 or 1980 penny that is in absolutely pristine, uncirculated condition, straight from a mint roll, then yes, it has a small premium. We're not talking about life-changing money here, but it's a 50x to 100x return on your initial investment of 1 cent. The key is that it has to be flawless, no bag marks, full, vibrant red luster if it's a red penny. Which brings me to my next point. For modern copper coins, collectors grade them on color, which indicates how much the surface has toned or oxidized your typical circulated penny. The copper has fully oxidized. No premium for 1980 P/D. A coin that was in circulation for a short time, or stored in a way that it started to. The Jefferson nickel. We're not talking about pristine, slabbed-proof coins. We're talking about the circulated coins, the ones with wear and tear, the ones you might actually find. This is your ultimate guide to the circulated value of the Jefferson nickel. First, a little history. The Jefferson nickel was first minted in 1938 to replace the Buffalo nickel. It features a portrait of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse, and his beautiful home, Monticello, on the reverse. Now, when we talk about circulated value, we're usually talking about coins in good to very fine condition. That means they've been in pockets and cash registers, they have wear on the high points of the design, but the major details are still clear. So, let's get to the good stuff. Which circulated Jefferson nickels are the big money? Number 1, the king of the series, the 1950 D. This is the lowest mintage nickel of the entire series. In 1950, the Denver Mint was focusing on other coinage, and they struck a tiny number of nickels, just 2.6 million. Compare that to the billions of nickels minted today. Finding a 1950 D in your change is the holy grail. Even in well-worn, good condition, this coin will easily fetch you $15 to $20. In a nicer, very fine condition, you're looking at $30 to $35 or more. Next up, we have the 1939 D. This was the first year of issue from the Denver Mint, and they had some production quirks, leading to a relatively low mintage. A circulated 1939 D is a fantastic find. Right behind it is the 1939 S. Same story, different mint. The San Francisco Mint also had a low output in the first year. These two are classic key dates. And finally, rounding out the top 5, the 1955. This was a low mintage year across the board, especially from the Philadelphia Mint, no mint mark. A circulated 1955 is a solid $2 to $4 coin all day long. So, the moral of the story is, if you see any nickel from 1938 to 1955, especially from Denver or San Francisco, slow down and artillery. So, from late 1942 through 1945, the composition of the nickel changed. These are the wartime nickels. They contain 35% silver. How can you spot them? 2 ways. First, the most obvious, a large mint mark above the dome of Monticello on the reverse. See that? A huge P, D, or S. This is the only time the Philadelphia Mint used a mint mark on the nickel until the 1980s. The second way to tell? They don't look like a normal nickel. They have a darker, slightly grayer appearance. So, what are they worth? Even in circulated condition, the silver content alone gives them a significant premium. With silver at, say, $25 an ounce, each one of these nickels has about $1.50 to $1.75 in melt value, but as coins, they're even more collectible. A common date like a 1943 P in circulated condition is usually a $1.50 to $3 coin. The key date here is the 1943/2 P over date. That's a whole other video, but if you find a 1943 with a weird, double-looking 3, get it checked by an expert. That one is worth thousands. Okay, so you've checked all your old change and found nothing. Don't worry. The hunt isn't over. The modern Jefferson nickel, from 1965 to today, has its own treasures. First, let's talk about full step. See the steps on Monticello? On most circulated nickels, they're worn smooth. But if you can see 5, 6, or even all 6 steps clearly separated, you have a full steps coin. This is a condition rarity, and it can turn a common date nickel from the 60s, 70s, or 80s into a $10, $20, or even $50 coin. Always check the steps on pre-2005 nickels. Next up, errors and varieties. The most famous modern variety is the 2004 D Speared Bison or Extra I nickel. This was part of the Westward Journey series. This die crack variety is dramatic and highly sought after. A circulated example can still be worth $5 to $10. Then there are the 2005 Ocean in View nickels. Look for coins with dramatic die breaks in the ocean waves. These are popular and carry. On its face, it's worth exactly 5 cents. But as we all know, in the world of numismatics, the story is never that simple. So, the big question we're answering today is your 1989 Jefferson nickel secretly valuable? We're going to look at the mints, the errors, the grades, and the real, honest-to-goodness circulated value of this common, yet fascinating, coin. First, a little bit of history. The Jefferson nickel was first introduced in 1938 to replace the Buffalo nickel. The design by Felix Schlag features a left-facing portrait of President Thomas Jefferson on the obverse, with his iconic home, Monticello, on the reverse, but by 1989, this design had been in use for over 50 years. It was a workhorse of American commerce. In the late 80s, the U.S. Mint was producing billions of coins annually to meet demand, and the nickel was no exception. In 1989, nickels were struck at 2 mints, the main facility in Philadelphia, which doesn't have a mint mark, and the branch mint in Denver, which has a small D mint mark on the reverse, to the right of Monticello. Okay, let's tackle the question head-on. If you have a regular, worn, circulated 1989 P or 1989 D nickel that you just pulled from your pocket change, what is it worth? The honest truth is, for the vast majority of these coins, they are worth exactly their face value, 5 cents. The mints produced a massive number of them. Over 1.3 billion nickels were struck in 1989 alone. Because they are so common, a worn, circulated specimen has no premium for collectors. It's a coin you can spend. Now, you might be able to sell a small bag of them to a collector for a slight premium, maybe a dime per coin, if they need them to fill a date roll, but for a single coin, it's not going to make you rich. But don't click away just yet. Because this is where it gets interesting. Circulated doesn't just mean worn out. It means the coin has been in the wild, and sometimes, rare and valuable errors slipped out into the outside of the retaining collar, causing it to be wider and flatter, raised, irregular lines on the coin surface caused by a cracked die. Any of these errors, even on a common date, can add a significant premium. So, your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to go through your change and your old coin jars. Here's your checklist for a 1989 nickel. Identify the mint ***. Is it a 1989 P, no mint mark, or a 1989 D, with a D? Assess the condition ***. Is it worn, or is it in sharp, lustrous, uncirculated condition? Hunt for errors ***. Get a magnifying glass or a cheap jeweler's loupe. Examine the obverse, especially on the 1989 D, for that speared bison doubling. Look for any oddities, misalignments, or cracks. To wrap it all up, the circulated value of a standard 1989 Jefferson nickel is 5 cents, it's a common coin. But the potential value lies in its condition and its flaws. A perfect coin is desirable, but a flawed coin, like the 1989 speared bison, can be a genuine treasure hiding in plain sight. So, the next time you get a nickel in your change, give it a second look. You never know what you might find. That's all for today. If you found this deep dive helpful, please give it a thumbs up, and subscribe to the channel for more coin mysteries, history, and value breakdowns. I want to hear from you. Have you ever found a valuable error coin in your change? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and happy hunting.